think, and that's a really good point actually as well that you mentioned of like it can feel like a lot if you followed all the advice on the internet, or that you might get thrown at, spit out at you from ChatGPT. And I think that is the downside of the kind of information rich age that we live in, where data research is at our fingertips, ready, available. You can consume as much as you want of it. So I think what the real important thing, the real thing I think to take hold of is, if you are wanting to create more freedom, change, healing, whatever you want to call it in your body, is to make sure you have that you're not just gathering data, you're not just almost numbing out in research and analytical thinking or gathering potential things, because you can end up with this checklist of 25 things to do every day, which for most people isn't realistic. And that comes from not actually knowing and understanding or listening to your body. And part of what I think is going to be even more important in the decades to come is that we don't just gather information, we also gather information uniquely about your body. So I do a lot of lab testing, or gather the labs that people already have with their existing kind of consultants or GPs, and often run functional additional ones, so that someone's really clear on, if everything in their life goes to pot, which is guaranteed to happen at some point, these are the 3 or 2 things you prioritize, because based on your health, your lab data, your soul, your health history, you're really clear on that. And that's helped me so much. I had 3 kids in 2 years, and I had awful pregnancies with hyperemesis because I had twins. My second set was twins. And I was wanting to return back to it with my business as well. And there was just a lot of stuff kicking off with trauma and about other stuff in the past. And actually, it was so empowering to know, because by that point, I'd already done a lot of this work. So I was like, I actually know right now, I'm not focusing on these 5, I'm not fannying around with these 6 things that are maybe good for me to do. I am laser focused on this and this. I'm laser focused on replenishing, nervous system regulation, and I'm laser focused, especially kind of postpartum, on nutrient repletion and the foods that I'm eating. So if someone wants to help me, I wasn't trying to do cold water therapy and meditation and this and this and this and this and this. Or even this year's my hormones, I've just had some hormone results at lab test backs. My hormones suddenly, been boring for years, suddenly go mental. And it runs in my family history. All the women in my family at this age, everything goes to pot. Anyway, it's just actually knowing, okay, now I have this data. I'm like, oh, so interesting. I know I need to support this estrogen pathway. And I would never just assume that, if that makes sense. I would have no idea. But now I know, okay, I can do these 2 things with rosemary and broccoli sprouts each day. That's specifically going to help that. I don't need to stress about doing all the perimenopausal things, because I'm not gonna when am I gonna do them? Or I'm just gonna get stressed about doing them. I know what my body is communicating, what it is saying right now is this and this. Cool. What's the laziest amount of action I can take that actually is gonna make a difference to how I feel, rather than feeling the pressure of having to do so many things. But while that's really well intentioned, comes from a really solid intention for a lot of people that I see, it's actually comes from not thoroughly understanding their and I think that, and you probably see that all the time, it's like not understanding, actually, this is my Achilles heel. Like, I know this is and I know this is like, and so that can be, and it's annoying in that it would be different from maybe your friend, your pal, your sister. And it only comes from that kind of self-inquiry, really, of just like, hey, body, what are you saying? What can I give you? And that kind of can help. I mean, we do need lifestyle change. Like, that is an inevitable part of it. But I also meet a lot of people, as you probably do, that are just like, oh my goodness, how do I do cold water, eat protein, take my things, have my fiber supplements, do my meditation, get some yoga in, do some sprint training, but not too much sprint training, do some recovery work, sleep for at least 8 hours a day, make sure my deep and REM sleep are all really good, make sure I get rid of endocrine disrupting chemicals, check for mold in my house, remove heavy metals, do gentle detoxing, grow my own vegetables, pet a dog. Like, you just still like, even saying all that out loud, our nervous systems are like freaking out. And I think that's when it can be, the information can be beautiful and it can be so cool to research, but ultimately it comes back to let's listen to my body. What's it saying? What does it need? And move from that place is, I think, so powerful. And probably what
Yeah.
you do in your life and in your work brilliantly.
A question that crossed my mind when you were talking there, when you were saying about like the functional medicine tests, for people that don't know, what is the difference between going to the GP medicine and functional medicine?
Yeah, great question. So I describe it really simply as a lot of the, not all, but a lot of the tests you might get done with your GP, like I had some blood work done recently, is they're looking for markers that may indicate disease, if we just put it very, very simply. So what's my TSH, a thyroid marker? If that's out of the reference range, then they'll put me on thyroxine or the carboxymol one, the one for hypothyroidism. You know, it's looking for very distinct, precise bits of information. So with a functional test, and that's not bad, just to be clear, that can be really useful to know, really helpful to get bloods done or other works, whether it's a stool test through your GP or going and see your consultant to get, you know, the scans, or, you know, I've had MRIs done, I've had sigmoidoscopies done, I've had, you know, all the things done, can be really useful to do. But what a functional test would do is, and it's never looking for disease, because that's not, it's looking for function. How is the system working? And it's just basically like a, it's like you taking a photo of a specific area and just looking what's going on there, essentially. So if we're thinking about hormones, you might be thinking, oh gosh, I'm definitely in perimenopause or I'm all over the place. You might get bloods done at the doctor. Great. It's really helpful to know your serum hormone levels. Very useful. But if you can do a functional test, you might then look at, okay, and which is what I did recently. It's like, oh, okay, well, all my hormone production is all air quotes healthy. So yay, good. But this functional test is telling me how I metabolize or process my hormones. So I'm not getting a diagnosis. It's not telling me I have endometriosis or anything like that, but it's showing me some of the pathways of my body of what do I do when I make estrogen? How do I turn it off and get rid of it? What pathway is that going down?